Planet Earth is home for many species of flora and fauna. Of them, the most wonderful and spectacular are the avian species. Birds are omnipresent. They live in forests, rural and urban areas. Among them, aerial birds are most often sighted as they live in proximity to the human settlements. I am going to narrate the lifestyle of a beautiful bird which lives in the neighborhood of human settlement. Accidentally, I came across the habitat of this bird near my home in Mysuru, a city in South Indian state of Karnataka. I am fortunate enough to get the opportunity to study its behavior. The bird is none other than the Indian grey hornbill, which is one of the most commonly found hornbills in the Indian subcontinent. There are 10 species of hornbills found in the Indian subcontinent. They are the Malabar grey hornbill, Malabar pied hornbill, the great hornbill, rufous-necked hornbill, oriental pied hornbill, wreathed hornbill, brown hornbill, Nicondum hornbill, the Sri Lankan grey hornbill, and the Indian grey hornbill. Karnataka is one of the best places to spot 4 of them. They are found in the forests, rural and urban areas. They live in large trees. Hornbills are unique birds and are often called as the farmers of the forest. They disperse the seeds of many trees and thereby contribute for keeping the forest alive. The Indian grey hornbill is a medium-sized hornbill measuring around 60 centimeters in length. The upper parts are grayish-brown and there is a slight trace of a pale supercilium. The ear coverts are darker in color. The flight feathers of the wing are dark brown with a whitish tip. The tail has a white tip and a dark subterminal band. The male has a dark bill, whereas the female has yellowish bill. The bare skin around the eye is dark in the male but pale reddish in females. The call of hornbills is a squealing call, somewhat like that of a black kite. Hornbills have a red iris and the eyelids have eyelashes. The casque is short and pointed. These birds are known to spend most of their time on tall trees. The flight is heavy and involves flapping intermittently with long glides. They feed on fruits and berries from fig trees, insects, reptiles, small birds, and rarely they feed on slightly bigger birds as well. During dusk, Indian grey hornbills enjoy mud bath. They play with mud to get rid of larvae and other insects. They are found in pairs or small groups. Hornbill pairs are formed after mid-air acrobatics called cask butting between competing males. The winner male presents delicious fruits like figs to the female. The female then accepts the winning male as her partner. Some of the experts opine that the lifespan of Indian grey hornbills is approximately 8 to 10 years. The hornbills attain the adult age at approximately 1.5 to 2 years of age. The hornbill pair then spends time away from the larger flock in search of a tree cavity to nest in. Indian grey hornbills usually nest in hollows of all trees like yellow flame tree, also called as copper pod. An existing hollow may be excavated further according to the requirements. Once a large enough and suitable tree cavity is found, the pair monitors the area for some time for ascertaining the safety, and if the cavity is safe, then they will nest in that hollow. The life of hornbills is not so easy. There is a competition for ownership of the tree cavity posed by birds like myna, parakeets. Further, the cavity is cleaned and made ready for breeding. Hornbills are so intelligent that the nest is designed in order to protect the eggs and chicks from rain and heavy winds. The hornbills exhibit strange behaviors like is when female had not returned to the tree for a few hours. On returning, the male did not welcome the female and was upset for some time. Finally, the female could persuade the male. Hornbills have a very unique breeding and nesting habits. The nesting season is from March to May every year. 15 to 20 days after mating, the female enters the nest. After entering the nest, the female hornbill starts plastering the opening of the cavity using feces and mud pellets. The opening will be vertical and width is enough to put its beak outside for receiving the food. This marks the beginning of the nesting season. The female seals herself in the nest cavity for months at a stretch. She lays the eggs and hatches the chicks. The clutch varies from 1 to 5 white eggs. During the nesting season, the male provides food 15 to 20 times a day to the mother and chicks inside the nest. The mother receives the food and then feeds the chicks. During the breeding season, female and young ones are completely dependent on the male for their survival. They depend on the male till the juveniles reach maturity. If the male bird unfortunately dies during the breeding season, then that will also result in the death of the female and young ones. While inside the nest, the female sheds her flight feathers and incubates the eggs. Usually, the incubation period is for 40 to 45 days. The regrowth of the female's feathers coincides with the maturity of the chicks. At that point, the nest is broke open. Hornbills tend to use the same nest year after year. Approximately after 4 weeks from the commencement of nesting, the chicks start making shrill calls. This marks the hatching of the chicks. After the chicks develop the capability of consuming the food, the female comes out of the cavity and remains confined in the tree for around 5 weeks. The opening of the cavity is resealed in order to protect the chicks from the predators and competitors. At the same time, papaya leaves are used to avoid ants entering the cavity. Hornbills usually eat berries and fruits, but the diet differs during the breeding season. They feed on grasshoppers, insects, and garden lizards as well. The parents continue to feed chicks until they reach 40 to 45 days of age. The opening of the nest is widened so that the chicks can observe the flying skills of their parents. At this point, they are considered as independent. The young will be called out of the nest by the parents with loud and ferocious voice. After hearing the call, the chicks come out of the nest and start living with their parents. For every 2 to 3 days, the chicks come out one after the other. Once the chicks grow, they live an independent life, away from their parents. I'm fortunate enough to get this opportunity to learn the behavior and life cycle of Indian grey hornbills. It is our bounden duty to conserve the nature, more so the hornbills. These birds are indicators of the richness and diversity of the environment. And the life of hornbills goes on. Birds are sensitive. It is our responsibility on each one of us to conserve the nature, more so the birds. Let us pledge ourselves to protect the birds so that the birds will survive for longer time.